Watch a college student step up to Charlie Kirk only to instantly regret it. Everybody, people have so much talk about democracy and our democracy. We live in a democracy, yada, 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 yada. Except we really don't, okay? There are democratic elements in our system, sure, but to say we are a democracy isn't exactly correct. You'll see why in this video right now, but first do me a huge favor here, like our video and share it around so we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. As always, Patriots, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Hi, Charlie Kirk. I would like to debate you on your claim that democracy is not an American value.
Okay. I mean, it's a very technical argument, but yes.
Okay, well, I say it is an American value because it's established in our Constitution, and it creates elections in Article 1, Section 2 of our Constitution for Congress, and we're a democracy. We have democratic values.
Again, this is a semantic argument, but an important one. And so where does the word democracy appear in the Constitution?
Its definition appears in the Constitution.
But the word does not.
Why does that matter?
Hold on. As I say, it's a semantic argument. So therefore, in the Federalist Papers, which I'm guessing you are familiar with, right? Madison, Hamilton, and Jay wrote it as an explainer of the Constitution. When was democracy mentioned, and how was it presented?
It's mentioned in our Constitution.
Okay, well, it's not though. The word is not. So what you're talking about is representative government, which of course we have. However, democracy is something completely different. Democracy, as was talked about in the Federalist Papers, was talked very negatively. Our own founders spoke negatively about democracy in our Federalist Papers. The authors of the Constitution went negative. You might say, but Charlie, we have elections. Of course we do. So what is the difference between democracy and a constitutional republic? There are big differences. In a democracy, the majority always wins with almost no breaks and no slowdowns of a check and balance system to protect freedoms and liberties. In a constitutional republic, the government starts with certain truth claims that are transcendent and irrefutable. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The government is here to promote the general welfare, things of this nature. A democracy does not usually have the same kind of separation of powers. A true, actual democracy.
Yeah, we're not a pure democracy.
Right, but the word itself is not in any of our founding documents, and it was actually talked about negatively.
But the idea that we're not a democracy is ridiculous.
We're not,
we still vote.
That's not the attribute. Like I said, that's representative government. It's a constitutional republic. And you're thinking way too simple about this. You got to go deeper. And I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just saying you got to broaden your horizon. Not every place that has elections is a democracy.
Democracy just means mob rule, plain and simple. What the most people get, they want. And of course, it's not fundamentally an American value, but aside from that, it's actually not a good thing. People often wax on poetically about how, oh, democracy, it's so great, it's so beautiful. We have a democracy in America, it's so great. Really? Really? Well, what if 51% of the population was voted to ban all of our guns? Essentially, abolish the Second Amendment. Would that be a good thing? Well, apparently, according to the logic of democracy and how great it is, we should just do it because, after all, most people wanted it, therefore it is good and morally right. Unironically, that is how I was taught to think in public school, along with millions and millions and millions of other American children. Of course, they always say, well, if the most people want it, that's a good thing. That's democracy, blah, 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 blah. And, I really think, getting a little in the weeds here, but I think people associate the term democracy with Democrat Party, and they have a positive association with the Democrat Party just because they hear so much about how democracy is such a great thing. False. Democracy is a terrible thing. And, I just want to point out that there are a lot of people, one of the big issues with it is that there are many people who get to have a say despite not having to put their stakes in the matter. Give you an example. There are many people who are on welfare who vote that I should be paying more taxes, as if I don't get enough stolen from me by the government already. Similarly, there are people who are not eligible for the draft, they're not required to register under it, and they will go ahead and vote for a bloodthirsty warmonger and then lecture me about being against the Ukraine war. You can guess who those people are. I'm not going to delve into that.
Right, but you also claimed that democracy is a majority rule.
Correct, yeah.
Do the presidents and do our politicians not have to win a majority amount of votes?
No, they actually don't. They have to win a plurality of the Electoral College.
The Electoral College, but that's not a majority.
No, actually, it's not. Think about it. You're actually not voting. You're voting for people to vote for you in the Electoral College. You're actually
That's
voting
still
for
voting.
No, that's different. That is a Republican. Hold on. A democracy is that you yourself would vote and there's nothing in the middle. A small r Republican form of government is you vote for people to vote for you. That's what you do with the House, the Senate, and the Electoral College. You actually aren't voting yourself. You're voting for people to go vote for you. The Electoral College gathers to then go cast a vote on your behalf. That's actually not you voting.
But that describes a representation, like representatives.
Of course, we agree on representative.
Right, and
that's not a democracy.
And we elect these representatives through democracy.
No, okay. Again, this is semantics. I encourage you to do more research, man. I don't want to belabor this.
It's the Constitution. I don't understand.
Do you know what a republic is?
Yes.
Okay, well, tell me the difference between a republic and a democracy.
So in a republic, you have representatives. And I'm not saying that we aren't both a republic and a democracy. In a democracy, we elect our leaders. In a republic, we elect representatives. So we vote for the representatives.
Yeah, so we're a republic. In a democracy, for example,
vote.
Let me tell you what a democracy looks like. They'd say, hey, today we're going to have an up or down vote on universal health care. Go to the ballot box. That's what a democracy. You vote. Exactly. Every person will vote on every single issue in a democracy. A lot of ballot referendums, a lot of things of that nature. Now, states can look in more that way. I don't want to belabor this too much. I encourage you to just do more reading.
But it's an American value. It clearly
go ask Grok. What did the founding fathers believe? Go to Grok and say, what did the founding fathers say about democracy in the Federalist Papers, and did the word democracy appear in the Constitution?
That doesn't matter if democracy is specifically
okay, so then let me ask you, what is democracy? Define it.
Democracy is a system or government that's ran by elected leaders.
That's not the definition of democracy. It isn't. Thank you very much.
That's literally a republic. This guy said it himself. A republic is organizing and electing representatives or leaders. He said leaders and differentiated them between representatives. They're both leaders. And they're both representatives at the end of the day. The president is a representative. He's also a leader. People in Congress are representatives. They're also leaders. Maybe not as much as leader of the president, but leaders nonetheless. We're in a republic. Case closed.
It's literally right here. The online definition is a system of government by the whole population.
The whole population. Exactly.
Right.
I am right. That's not what we have. We delegate our authority to elected leaders.
And they still have to have a majority. You still need a majority of Congress to vote on a bill?
No, they don't. You have pluralities. We also need actually 61% of the vote. In a Republican style of government, things are slower. They are arduous. And you have natural rights that are enshrined that the majority of the people cannot overturn. Thank you very much. I'm not going to keep on going this way.
Mutually exclusive.
They are actually at odds with one another. Again, this is not a civics course. You got to go do more research, man.
This isn't about civics. This is just basic. This is basic.
Again, how about this? Go take 5 minutes, come back and show me where the word democracy is in the Constitution. You can't find it because it doesn't exist. Thank you.
It's an American value, man. You can tell this guy is just married to the word democracy and wants to make it fit his agenda. And I have to say, I think it's because of what I said earlier. People are genuinely psyoped into believing democracy is a synonym for good and decent and that American values are based on that or something. Nope. We're a republic. Sorry. And just because some Republicans are conservatives or right-wing people, whatever you want to call them, will talk about our democracy, doesn't mean they're right. Okay? You have a lot of liberal stuff that seeps into the right-wing side of the aisle. Always important to remember. With all that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, comment below. Let us know what you like about the clip. What kind of stuff you want to see in the future. Hit that subscribe button so we'll make sure that we see you again soon. God bless.